Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the Gunwell people of the tube. Purple everything grand and all spreading your world. Ha! Welcome to the Q&A Wednesday, everybody. Let's jump straight into question one today. Question one today is, could you give me some advice on amp cabs? Are there any Marshall cabs that should be avoided? Because I would like something that will get me in the neighbourhood of late 60s classic rock. Okie dokie. The only Marshall cabs I would say avoid are the new Marshall MGs. The new Marshall MGs, not the old ones. The old ones are awesome. And the Marshall AVTs. The Marshall AVT cabs are really good, but they have this fizz that's really annoying after a while. It's like a buzz in the speaker. I don't know why, but all AVTs do it, and I don't really know why. But other than that, any Marshall cab's free reign, really. My favourite, and what the Marshall cab I would always recommend to anyone, is the Marshall JCM 900 cab. A or B. You can't go wrong with either. Apart from the B has more low-end thump. But yeah, personally I would recommend that. And again, for classic rock stuff, it's just a workhorse. The 900 cabs are. You get JCM 800 cabs, which are really, really nice. The 1960s classic cabs are really nice. The 1960s classics are pretty much a JCM 900 cab anyway. I think they've got the same speakers and everything. They're just branded differently. There's also the AX cabs, which are really, really nice. But again, and there's also the salt and pepper grill cloth cabs. But if you're on a budget, I would go for an old Marshall MG cab. 2004, 2005 preferably. You can tell what year they're made by the serial number on the back. The first 4 digits of the serial number is the year they're made. So yeah, the old Marshall MG cabs or Marshall VS cabs, the valve state cabs are amazing as well. So I'd go for one of them too if you're on a budget. If you can stretch a bit further, I would go for JCM 900 cab, which I'd recommend to anyone in the world who wants a cab. They're just gorgeous and they're not particularly expensive and they're just ace. They're just absolute workhorses. Plus you can run things at 8 ohm stereo, 4 ohm mono or 16 ohm mono. So you cover all the ohm spectrum. There's nothing you can't run into that thing. It's absolutely awesome. If you want to stretch a bit further, you can go for a Marshall AX. But personally, I would go for the JCM 900 myself. If I was going to recommend a cab to anybody, it'd be the JCM 900, which I've done a million times, I think. Okay, but yeah, that's what I'd recommend. The ones to avoid would definitely be the AVTs and the new Marshall MGs. They're just not very good. I think they're just a bit meh sounding. They just don't sound very. There's no character to the cab at all. It just sounds a bit rubbish. Right, that was a quick answer. But anyway, I hope that's answered your question. Oh no, I haven't. Yeah, I hope that's answered your question. That was a quick answer, but I hope that's answered your question. I'm going to move on to question 2 now. Okay, so question 2 has an A, B, and C to it. So question 2A is this. And I get asked this a lot. So this is something that could go into a tangent, everybody. So brace yourselves. Okay, so question 2A. You own so many guitars and amps. If you sold them all, surely you could own Gibsons or or expensive Fenders and maybe some amazing amps. Have you ever considered doing this? I've seen how happy you are with the Revelation guitars. Imagine what a real Gibson Les Paul could do. Nothing that my Revelation can't do. The simple answer to kind of what a real Les Paul could do is absolutely nothing. It can't wow me any more than my Revelation can. Because the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, a good guitar is a good guitar regardless of its price point or what its make or brand is. You know, I mean, a good guitar is a good guitar. You know, just because it's cheap doesn't make it rubbish. You know, I don't like that stigma that cheap guitars have of like, oh, it's a Squier, it must be rubbish, or it's a beginner's guitar. I hate that statement. That statement really grinds my gears in Peter Griffin fashion. But yeah, I don't like that statement of like, you know, you play Squier or you play a cheap guitar, so you know you can't be a very good, or it's a beginner's guitar. It's like that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't mean a thing. A good guitar is a good guitar regardless of what it is. It's as simple as that. And this whole thing of saying like, you know, the wording of like maybe you could own some amazing amps. I own amazing amps. My Marshall MG over there is an amazing amp. You know, my Boss Katanas are amazing amps. My Marshall Valve State is an amazing amp. My Orange CL120 is an amazing amp. My Carlsbro is an amazing amp. My PV Rage is an amazing amp. You know what I mean? It's like Marshall Master Reverb I've got is an amazing amp. You know, it just because it's not either because it's not Valve or it's not expensive or it appears to be like a beginner's amp or what of these kind of like weird spectrums that people go on, doesn't mean it's not amazing, because I'm happy with my amps, more than happy with my amps. I love them to bits. My favourite amp of all time will always be that Marshall MG sat over there. I will never ever get rid of that amp. The Fish will stay with me forever, and it is the amp that I judge all other amps by. I've owned a JCM 100, I've owned a small box Marshall Plexi, I've played through countless vintage amplifiers throughout my life. You know, I mean, working on old hat guitars, I was absolutely spoiled rotten with what I could play for on a regular basis. It's just stuff that I could never dream of owning or playing through, if I wasn't working there. You know what I mean? Like original Blues Breakers and original Plexis and original old Fender amps and stuff like that. You know, and old Gretsch amps and old Gretsch guitars and old Gibsons and that kind of thing. And it was working at Old Hat that actually made me realise that fact of good guitar is a good guitar, full stop. It doesn't matter what brand or how much it's worth or this, that and the other, a good guitar is a good guitar, regardless of what it is. So when people say, oh, well, if you sold all those cheap guitars, you'd be able to afford like one really good one, it's like, I don't want to. I'm happy with what I've got. I don't feel the need to sell all my guitars to own one good guitar, because all my guitars are awesome. I wouldn't trade any of my guitars for any Gibson or custom shop Fender. Not in a million years. You couldn't make me do that. You know, you'd never get me to trade my white Fender Mexican Strat for anything in the world, including John Frusciante's 62 or Jimi Hendrix's Strat, because that guitar has so much meaning to me. And it's technically an inexpensive. It was 300 and something odd quid when I bought it. You know, not breaking the bank guitar at all, but it's the best. It's still my go-to guitar and the best feeling guitar I own. I absolutely love that guitar to death, and I always will. And you know, like I say, it's my it's a guitar that comes with me into the afterlife, if you will. The guitar afterlife, where we find all the plectrums we've lost throughout life. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, I mean, like the fact of the matter is, it's like, you know, what people consider amazing is totally subjective to that person. You know what I mean? The same thing with guitar tone and what your setup is. You know what I mean? It's like what one person's amazing is another person's absolute garbage. You know what I mean? But I really do feel that a good guitar is a good guitar at the end of the day. It doesn't matter or mean anything at the end of the day. If you like the guitar, then what does it matter? You know? If you like the amp, what does it matter? If you like the sound it makes, what does it matter? It doesn't have to have glass in it to make it an amazing amplifier. You know, it doesn't have to have an amazingly big price tag on it to make it an amazing amplifier or an amazing guitar or amazing pedal. You know, it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. All that matters is that you're happy, and I am. So, do I want to sell all my stuff and get one good guitar like a Gibson Les Paul or a custom shop Fender Strat? Not in a million years. Nope. Like I say, I have said in previous videos that I have toyed with the idea of getting a Gibson Les Paul for investment purposes, like an R8 or an R9 or an R7, because I'm a massive Gold Top fan. I'm still toying with the idea of refinishing the Revelation stripped to be Gold Top, but I haven't made my mind up yet. But I have thought about getting kind of like an R7 or an R9 or an R8 as an investment, but I don't know if I like the idea of it. It feels a bit funny to me. In the long run, it's not a bad idea, because you always have a guitar that's going to gain money, and that one rainy day where you need money, that's what that's there for. That's the whole point of investment. But for me to play a guitar, the guitar has to feel a certain way, and it has to have something about it that I really love. And all my guitars do that. I have like 1, 2, 3. I have 7 guitars which are my technically 8 guitars that are my go-tos right now, and they're all 1, 2, 3. 6 of them in this room. There's 2 of them are downstairs. But none of them are, well, apart from one, a few, 4, sorry, are fairly kind of like, you know, no, I don't have any urge to sell all my stuff to get a Gibson. I don't care about the name Gibson on a Les Paul or anything like that. It's like, one of my dream guitars is a SG with the Batwing pickguard and the Maestro tremolo. But I'm not about to go out and sell everything so I can go out and buy one. You know what I mean? Plus, if I sold all my stuff, I probably still wouldn't be able to afford an old Gibson SG or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, I don't have any desire to do that. I get why people would think that, but I'm happy with what I've got. Everything I own, I love, and I feel, to me, in my opinion, is amazing to me because it does what I want it to do, and it feels a certain way, and it lets me express certain things, and that's all that matters to me. There have been moments in the past where I've gone, no, there haven't. No, there hasn't. There's been moments in the past where I've questioned it, like you do, but it's only when it comes up when people say it. You know what I mean? When somebody says, you know, if you sold this and this and this, you could get this. And you're like, oh yeah, I could. And then you go, but why? You know what I mean? That's about as far as it's ever got. So no, I mean, a real Gibson Les Paul couldn't make me feel any happier than my Revelation does. I owned an R7. You know what I mean? I know what real Gibson Les Pauls feel like. I've played some absolutely stunning Les Pauls from, you know, R7s, R8s, R9s, 60s reissues, you know, real old Les Paul Deluxes, really old 1970s Les Pauls. I've played an original 1950s Black Beauty with the P90 in the staple pickup. And they are amazing. Yes, they are amazing, but they're no more amazing than my Revelation downstairs. Just because it says Gibson on headstock doesn't mean anything. It all comes down to feel. And that's what's the most important thing for me. It's not about the price tag. If a guitar feels good, I don't care what it says it is. You know what I mean? That's all that matters if the guitar speaks to you on a certain level. And it has to speak to you on a certain level. You know what I mean? There's no point going out and buying a Gibson R8 or an R9 just because somebody told you to. Because you might get it and you might not like it. You know what I mean? It might not work for you. Whereas, picking up an Epiphone, or a Revelation, or a Vintage, or any of these cheap Les Paul copies, you know, even Tokai, might make you go, well, this is better than that Gibson R9 I tried, or whatever. You know what I mean? It depends. It's all subjective at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, it's like you should always be asking what you want, not what other people tell you should have or what they recommend for you to have. If you want to go down that line, but everyone's telling you to go down that one because that's the chosen kind of like rule, the unwritten rule that you go down, you know, valve amp route and expensive guitar route, you know, because that's what professionals use. But you want to go down this line with solid state or digital modeling and, you know, just a medium price guitar. It's like, go down that route. It doesn't matter. Everything's subjective. If you're happy with that, then go with it. You know, if you want to go out the way and buy expensive stuff, wicked as well. You know, it's all down to your choice at the end of the day. It's not up to anybody to tell you otherwise or whatever, really. You know, it's all down to you. So when people say, oh, well, you could, if you sold that, you could get some amazing stuff. It's like, all my stuff is amazing. You know, from my Squier Jaguar to my White Strat to all my guitars, all my amps, all my pedals are amazing to me. And that's all that matters. I've got no desire to sell them to get a Gibson. I've got no desire to sell them to get an expensive Fender. Just because it says whatever, or just because it's got a price tag that's whatever, it doesn't mean anything to me. Like I said, I got to that conclusion working in Old Hat where I could play anything, like, you know, from crazy price ranges. You know what I mean? When you're playing a guitar that's worth £49,000, you know, you are a bit kind of like aware that this should technically be a bit better than this. And when it isn't, you're a bit like, When an Epiphone Sheraton or an Epiphone Dot is better than a real 335, you are a bit like, or just on par with it, you're like, You start to go, well, what is it then? And then you start to judge the guitar on its merits. Because one of the best guitars we ever had in Old Hat was an Epiphone Sheraton, which eventually sold, and much to the dismay of all of us, because it was a gorgeous guitar. It was like natural finish Sheraton. It was absolutely stunning. And I'm not really a hollow body fan, but it was a really nice guitar. And we had some really awesome cheap guitars in Old Hat, which some of them I wish I could still have. There was an Encore. I came so close to getting this guitar, and it really plagues me now, and I wish I hadn't thought about it, to be honest with you. There was an Encore guitar. It was a white Strat copy, and it had a Kahler that somebody had fitted a Kahler to it. And it was a bit. I don't know if it was even stock. The Kahler looked stock to this guitar. I don't know if it was, but it had a Kahler tremolo, and it had. Was it a maple neck? I think it was a maple neck, or was it a rosewood neck? I don't know. I don't remember. It was rosewood neck, and it had a really funny headstock and locking nut and everything. And it was an amazing guitar, and it was like 90 quid. And I actually borrowed it for a while because I actually bought it home because I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I took it back one day, and then basically got kicked out, and I never saw that guitar again. And it was this Encore white Strat. It had a white scratch plate, white body, Kahler trem, rosewood neck with a locking nut, and a really funny Encore looking headstock. And it was one of the most awesome guitars that I wish I should have bought it. It's as simple as that. I should have bought it because it was absolutely amazing. There was also a 1970s Columbus Strat copy, which was about 200 quid. 250, sorry. And that was another guitar I should have bought as well, because it was so inexpensive, but it was absolutely amazing. The neck was a proper vintage Strat neck. It was just immense, the guitar was. And before I had a chance to get it, we were out of the shop. And also I wasn't allowed to buy things, but that's a different story altogether. There's a lot of guitars that I wish I could have got. There are a lot of guitars I wish I could have got. And it kind of guts me thinking they're still there, or they're gone for good and I'm never going to see them again. So, yeah. But yeah, you know, we all have those stories, don't we, people of a tube? But yeah, like I say, but when people say, you used to sell all that cheap stuff and get like expensive stuff, no. And you couldn't make me. I'm happy with what I've got, and that's just the way it is. So I hope that's that part of your question. Like I say, I'm not interested in owning a real Gibson Les Paul, unless one day I decide the idea of like an investment guitar would be a good idea. Other than that, I'm not. And I'm touring with that idea because I do have some. No, I'm not. I don't want to talk about it. It's too upsetting. I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, I do have the idea of maybe one day, I'm toying with the idea of getting a guitar that I just have for, that whole idea of an investment piece. And it would be a Gibson. I wouldn't buy a Fender. I'd buy a Gibson just because they hold their value just a bit better. And it would be an R8 or an R7 or an R9 or as simple as that. I really wish I still had my R7, but I don't miss it. You know what I mean? It's one of those guitars. The R7 I had was really nice, but my Revelation RTL 59, because I know exactly how that R7 felt. I can feel that guitar now. I can smell it still because it had nitro lacquer. I can still picture every little nick, dent, scratch, everything about that guitar that I put on that guitar. I can still picture it in my head. I can still smell the guitar, and I can still feel what it felt like to play. And in all fairness, when I picked up that RTL 59, it didn't feel much different. It really didn't. The neck feels the same. Yes, it's lighter because the R7 had a mahogany body with a maple cap. The Revelation doesn't have that. It's a lot lighter. But my back thanks me for that one. So, be that for what it may. But it doesn't feel any different. It really doesn't. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, it comes down to this. A good guitar is a good guitar. A good amp is a good amp. A good pedal is a good pedal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. Okay, so moving on to question 2, part B. Is you just won the lottery. What guitars, amps, pedals would you like to own? So if I just won the lottery, I'd be buying myself my own studio. I think that's what I'd be more interested in. I would like to own my own proper live room recording studio. I think as musicians, as a musician, that's kind of like one of my ultimate goals, is to own my own studio that I can. Because this is my studio that you see right now. This is where I record. This is where Never Fade and all the songs on my Bandcamp are recorded, mainly in this room. On my laptop through Pro Tools, everything going into an M-Box. That's what I record onto. But I would love my own live room, control room recording studio. If I won the lottery, I'd be buying a house with rooms that I could convert into a recording studio. Would I be buying any more amps and cabs and guitars? Yes, most probably. But what they are, I don't know. I'd probably buy one of my dream amps. I'd probably go out and buy myself a Gibson SG with a batwing pick guard, because I've always wanted one, and it's John Frusciante's fault. And I'd probably want to buy an original Plexi just because I love them. And as much as they're a copy of the Fender Bassman, I still feel that the Plexi is the amp that every amp wants to be. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I know the Marshall Plexi and the JTM 45 are just basically a rip-off of the Fender Bassman, but the Marshalls the old Marshalls are a different animal altogether. You know, they don't really sound like the Fender Bassman. I don't feel they sound anything like. The old Marshalls have something that the Bassman doesn't have, and again, whatever that is, I don't know what that is, but yeah, I don't know. I would go if I won the lottery and I had like loads of money, I'd probably go to Kirk Hammett and just like buy Peter Green's Les Paul. Yeah, like he would never sell it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. But like I say, what if I won the lottery? I'd be buying a house with the ability to, with the idea of doing my own recording studio with a live room, full setup live room, and a control room where I could actually record everything like really, really well, like all the technology that I could get into there and that I could make really good recordings with. Because I love recording and writing music. I don't do it as much recently because I use a very old version of Pro Tools, and sometimes it just decides not to work, and it's a bit of a pig. So it becomes more hassle than it's worth sometimes. So sometimes I'm like, I really want to record, and then Pro Tools won't work, and you just get really despondent, and you just can't be bothered with it, and you just go away. But yeah, that's what I would if I'd won the lottery. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be buying a house in the idea of I want a recording studio with its nice sized live room that I can record real, you know, nice big loud guitars in, nice big loud real drums and bass in, and stuff like that, and a nice control room where you can sit and relax and mix stuff comfortably. You know what I mean? That's what I want. That's what I would love. I really would love that. I actually do have like these little daydreams where I'm like, if I had my own recording studio, I'd have that there, I'd have this, I'd have that, I'd have my amps all against one wall, and I would have this. You know what I mean? You know, has anyone ever done that? You know what I mean? Where you start daydreaming about, like, you know, if you had this, that, and the other, where would you put it, and how would you have it set out, and stuff like that. And I always like think, if I had my own studio, I'd do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and I would just basically live in there. That's that for the rest of my life. I would just create, and I would write and release music. If I had won the lottery and I had like 70 million in the bank, I would literally just write and record music and just release it for free. You know what I mean? Because there'd be no, you know, you wouldn't have to make anything off it. You could just literally write and release everything. You know, it just like anything you come up with, from the really wacky to whatever. You know what I mean? And you just get it out there for free because you don't need to make anything off it. But such is life. I'd get hit by a bus before I win the lottery. And I don't put the lottery on, so anyway. Isn't that like a statistic that you're more likely to get hit by a bus than you are to win the lottery? I don't know. But yeah, more so than buying, like, you know, guitars, amps, and pedals, I would want to buy a house outright with the ability to actually make a recording studio, all the stuff I needed, like, you know, top-notch stuff to actually have my own recording studio with a live room. That's what I would like. you do have like a lot of daydreams about having my own studio. I really do. And I'd have my amps against that wall there, and I'd have all my mics and stuff in there, and I'd have pedals this there and there. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And like Steve Vai, if you've ever seen Steve Vai's rig rundown, his room is amazing. That's like a dream that I'm pretty sure will never happen, but one can dream, and that's all that matters. Dreaming about stuff like that is just wicked. You know what I mean? You all gotta have dreams. All gotta have dreams. They're important. Okay, so yeah, I think that's what if I won the lottery, that's more what I'd be going for instead of buying loads of guitars and amps and stuff like that. I'd probably just go out and buy loads of Marshall MGs and CR120s and just hoard them so no one else could have them. Anyway, I'm joking, or am I? Of course I'm joking. I'm not. Or am I? Anyway, moving along. Okay, so final part of question 2 today. Question 2C is, I just learned scar tissue, but I have noticed we both play it differently. I fingerpick the treble strings and use my plectrum for the bass strings. You almost look like you're strumming the riff. How do you do that? It's just a left-hand muting technique that I'm not going to talk about here because I've got loads of videos on this in my How to Play Like John Frusciante series. So if you go to my How to Play Like John Frusciante series on my channel, it's all in a playlist. There are videos on there where I go into detail of how to do that muted strumming technique that John does in Can't Stop. And loads of other riffs as well, like, you know, If You Have to Ask. There's a million songs like that. You know, Tell Me Baby, doesn't Tell Me Baby live. He doesn't do it on this studio version. Warlocks, you know. Yeah, there's all sorts of songs. But so yeah, John Frusciante series videos. That's where I'll explain all about that thing. I don't really want to go into it here because I've got it all in there, and I've spoke about it a lot over the years of doing it. So if you want to look at those videos, that's it. But yeah, it is basically it's a left-hand muting technique where you're killing the strings you don't want to ring out, but the deadness of those strings as you're strumming it makes the sound fatter, basically. So it just gives it extra girth, if you will. So yeah. So if you're interested in that, please go to my John Frusciante How to Play Like John Frusciante series. Okay. And I'll talk about it in depth on there. Okay, so move along now, everybody. Question 3 today is, what do you think to the Yamaha SG John Frusciante is playing now? Have you ever tried one? And if not, are you planning to get your hands on one? The Yamaha SG. A lot of people rave about those guitars being absolutely amazing. I've heard somebody say it's a Les Paul killer. I don't know. I've never tried one. I've seen one. I've never played it though. I've never played a Yamaha SG. But they look amazing. Look really, really good guitars. But I don't really have much thoughts on it, really. I mean, it's obviously something that John wants because it's different to a Strat. It makes him play in a different way, he said, and I can totally understand that because certain guitars do make you play in a different way. Because certain guitars have limitations that other guitars don't. You know, some guitars you'll be able to do something on, and other guitars you won't. So yeah, but no, I've never tried one. Am I planning to get my hands on one? No, I'm not really interested. It's not a guitar that interests me. If I saw one in a guitar shop, I'd probably pick it up and have a go just out of curiosity. But it's not, unless it. And because they're really, really expensive, it kind of puts it out of my range anyway. I couldn't afford one. Even if I picked one up and really wanted it, I couldn't afford one. So it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really make much difference to me. But I would like to try one, but it would only be out of curiosity more than kind of like the idea of actually kind of like owning one, so to say. I don't really like the way they look. They just look a bit funny to me. There's just something about the way they look that doesn't really appeal to me. I love SGs. And I love Les Pauls, but I don't really like the look of the Yamaha SG. It looks a bit funny. It's like a hybrid between the two, but I don't really like the way it looks. It's not very visually appealing to me. But no, I'm not really planning to get my hands on one. And I've never really played one, so sorry, I can't really comment. Sorry, I do apologise. So yeah, so I'm going to move on to question 4 now. Question 4. You've recently played a few guitars with P90s. Which one has been your favourite so far? One of my favourite ever guitars with P90s was my vintage Gold Top. But it was knocked off the top spot by the Revelation RTL 55 recently, the black custom that I had. which I thought would be here still instead of the RTL 59, but the RTL 59's here and the 55 went back, so I don't know what that says. But no, the P90, mainly because I don't really use P90s, so I didn't really have a purpose for it. I use humbuckers more than I use P90s. And also that RTL 59 had something that 55 didn't. It had some crazy vibe, man, that the 55 didn't. But yeah, I would say that's my favourite P90 guitar that I've played recently. The 55. It's been absolutely gorgeous, that guitar was. It played really nicely. It sounded stunning, especially the neck P90. The neck P90 in that guitar. I'd have its babies, I tells you. But yeah, that's my favourite P90 guitar that I've played recently. I'm going to sneeze. I can feel it coming. I'm going to have to stop the camera. And we're back. It was a very good sneeze. Anyway, yeah, that's definitely my favourite P90 guitar I've played recently. The RTL 55. It's an absolutely gorgeous guitar. The neck, the playability, the sound, the neck P90. You know what? In all fairness, that guitar, the bridge P90, could just go away, and I would just have the one pickup in the neck, and I'd be a happy bunny with that guitar. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, that would definitely be my favourite at this point in time. That's my favourite P90 guitar I've played. It just played gorgeously, and sounded gorgeous as well. So yeah, so that'd be my number one at this point in time that I've played in the last while. So I hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 5 now. Question 5, and I'm gonna have to have a bit of a sip. One sec. Get a dry throat. Okay, so question 5 today, everybody, is what alternate tunings do you like? Dyslexic kicking in there, everybody. What alternate tunings do you like, and which ones would you recommend people play around with? Okay, my favourite tunings are Dadgad, Open G, and Open C. And I would recommend playing around with either of them. Open C is probably the most fun. I love Open C tuning. Open C tuning is one I've recently got into after discovering Devon Townsend last year. And I absolutely adore Open C. I absolutely adore Open C for an acoustic guitar. Is like heaven. Absolutely heaven. And electric as well, to be honest with you. You can do some absolutely amazing melodic things with Open C. It's absolutely gorgeous. So Open C, Open G is gorgeous as well. And also Dadgad tuning. I'd also recommend check out Open E as well. So there'd be the 4 tunes I would recommend people try and play around. I don't really like Open E. Like I say, I love Open C more than anything. Even Dadgad. I love Dadgad. Dadgad's kind of second. So it's like Open C, Dadgad, Open G, and then kind of the others. But yeah, so those would be the ones I would recommend. And I would say just recommend play around with any open tuning, to be honest with you. They're all good fun. Will you do a video on different tunings? Yes, at some point I will do a video on different tunings. It's just a case of getting round to it more than anything else. Yeah, so at some point, yeah, I will do a different video on different tunings and how I use them and certain other things. Yeah, that'd be quite fun actually. I'd quite enjoy doing that. Okay, so and then you finally asked. So sorry. Those would be the 4 tunes I'd recommend. But all open tunings are fun. Open A is really cool for slide. For learning slide, but I would say Open G is best for slide really, and Open C is really nice for slide as well. Open C's got more of a melodic sound with slide, whereas Open G is a more kind of traditional slide, kind of bluesy sound. Drop D, Open D, Open D minor is amazing. Just try any, but Open C and Dadgad would be my number 2, my top 2. Top 3 would definitely be Dadgad, Open C, and Open G. That'd be my favourite. They're the ones I use all the time. They're my kind of like favourite go-to tunings. So yeah, but I would try them all out. Just try loads of different open tunings now, and coming up with your own tunings is always good fun as well. But So yeah, but like I say, I will get a video done on that at some point, especially with acoustic. It opens up a whole new world with an acoustic when you got drone notes with open tunings. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Okay, so final part of question 5 was, could you release backing tracks to your Untitled series? Not really, because they've already been recorded. To release backing tracks for my Untitled, I'd have to go back and actually re-record the backing. So I would like to. So maybe in the future. I'm not going to say no, actually. No, I'm not going to say no, because if I get the ability to record, if my laptop will let me record one day, I might go back in time and do some re-recording of these backing tracks and get them up on my Bandcamp. Excuse me. So they'll be released to you. It'd be really cool to do that. Some of them obviously won't have backing tracks because some of them were solo guitar pieces that I did on my own. So, but the ones with a backing track, yeah. I mean, yeah. I could probably go back in time and re-record them at some point. It's a case of having the time to do it and also the ability to do it with recording. So, but it's something I would like to do, actually, thinking about it now. So yeah, fingers crossed. In the future, yes, I will do release the backing tracks, Untitled backing tracks. My brain. What time is it? I'm getting hungry. That's why my brain's going. Okay, so like Snickers says, you're not with you when you're hungry. Hang on a minute. Is that subject for copyright? Snickers going to come after me now. Excuse me, you used our catchphrase. You're going to jail. Anyway, moving along. So yeah, at some point, yeah, I would like to release backing tracks to my entire series, actually. It'd be quite fun. It'd be quite nice to revisit them, actually, and actually make backing tracks. And I might be able to embellish the backing tracks as well by putting, like, bass on it, drums on it, like, you know, extra guitars, stuff like that. So yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. So yes, in the future, I will hopefully do that. So yes. So, final question for the day, everybody. Question 6. What do you think of the gear Josh Klinghoffer uses in the Chili Peppers? And have you seen the rig rundowns? And what do you think to it? Yeah. Some of the stuff Josh uses is just because John used it. Marshall Majors, Ibanez Wahs, DS2s, delay pedals. Although Josh uses delay pedals in a way that I don't really feel is conducive to the Chili Peppers. But that's me. I'm being an old stick in the mud again about Josh. I don't hate him, I just don't like him in the Chili Peppers, like I always say. But what Josh uses is absolutely immense. His pedal boards are crazy. But I do feel there's certain aspects of his setup that could be tweaked to be a bit better, if you know what I mean. The way he runs, like I personally think if he used a Marshall Silver Jubilee instead of a Major, it would be better. And I don't think the Fender amp he uses adds anything, because when you listen to him live, you don't even hear it. He says, "Oh, it adds this." Well, I can't hear that. Maybe he can, but I think if you're going to be in the Chili Pepper style band. You know, something like a Plexi or a Silver Jubilee. I mean, I personally think Josh would benefit more from a Silver Jubilee than a Major myself. I think it would do his sound the world of good. Switching to a Marshall Silver Jubilee and getting rid of a Major and also getting rid of a Fender. I reckon that would do the world of good. Or even like a JCM 800 would be quite cool. Because John did use JCM 800s. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Josh is Josh, isn't he? And he's going to use what he uses. But his setup is wicked. But I do feel some of it is a bit kind of like, you've got that for no reason kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, I've got this just because at one point I want to be able to do something silly with it. You know what I mean? But I suppose it's just variation at the end of the day, Dave. I'm talking to myself, everybody. Why am I talking to myself? But yeah, I'm just being hard on myself, really. Well, because I'm being nasty towards. I feel like I'm being nasty towards Josh, and I don't feel like I should be. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really like Josh's sound. I find it very thin and harsh. I don't like his wah-wah sound. I don't like his distortion sound. I don't like his glitchy little noises. I don't really like his chorus sound or his clean tone, his cleanish tone in general. It's a lot more cleaner than John's, and I think that's the reason why he doesn't stick out in the mix so much when they're live. But I'm not a big fan of Josh's tone. I'm just not. There's just something about it that I don't like, and I don't know. Well, I do know what it is. I just don't like the tonality of it. I just find it really thin and wispy, and it's just not very strong. You know what I mean? It's not a very strong guitar tone compared to, like, you know, people his peers, which are John Frusciante, Hillel Slovak, Dave Navarro, Eric Marshall, you know, Jack Sherman. You know, all these guys had really in your face big guitar tones. Whereas Josh, I feel, is only too happy to take the thin fizzy route and just kind of sit in the back, and not really be more of a textural guitarist than an actual kind of like lead guitarist. You know what I mean? That always comes across to me with Josh. He always feels like his guitar playing is a textural thing. It's not really a lead guitarist's thing. It's a lot more kind of like I say, these subtle textures. That's the only word I can think of. He's not really out the front giving it the big un. You know what I mean? Like John or Hillel or Dave Navarro or any of them. You know what I mean? He's not that kind of guitarist. He's just there kind of like, you know, he's only happy to kind of, he's only happy, no, that's not the right word. He's very happy to sit in the background and just make kind of noises, like glitchy noises. Like, you know, you can hear him in Dark Necessities where he hits that kind of delay pedal that glitches and goes, like it's like the kind of noise. And all these kind of extra kind of like, you know, ethereal guitar noises with loads of delay and reverb on them. He's only happy to do, you know, he's very happy doing that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I feel that's kind of what the Chili Peppers are missing, is that really out the front guitar that is in contrast with Flea's out the front in your face bass, Chad Smith's out the front in your face drums, and Anthony's in your face vocal. It feels like the guitars took, like, you know, whereas everything was kind of like on the level, you know, guitar, bass, drums and vocals on the level, it feels like the guitars just kind of took a step back in the Chili Peppers now to kind of like make way for other things like piano or synthesizers or percussion, and Flea's bass more and his vocal and Chad's drums. The guitar's taking a step back from that kind of lead guitar position to more of a like I say, a textural guitar, a rhythm guitar almost. It's not as out the front and as powerful and as big as it once was, which is cool. You know, if that's the way they want to go with it, then more power to them. But it's not the Chili Peppers to me. That isn't. The Chili Peppers has always been a really heavily guitar-led band, and I just don't feel it is anymore. And watching them at the Pyramid gig, the Giza gig, it was like it came very apparent to me that is definitely the way it is. It's like, you know, there's a lot more kind of like going on with drums, bass, keyboards, percussion and vocals than there is guitar led stuff. So even in the older stuff, you know, he doesn't really do, you know, very sparing. Josh is a very sparse guitarist, and I feel that's can be a good thing, but it's kind of a bad thing at the same time, if you know what I mean. I just don't think it doesn't feel like the Chili Peppers. It just doesn't feel like it. I don't know. But again, this is only my opinion. This isn't like, you know, opinion of anybody, and you know, this is only my opinion on stuff. So like I say, be that for what it will. But yeah, Josh's stuff is it works for him, and I suppose that's cool at the end of the day. But I do think, you know, there are ways his setup could benefit from a certain tweaks and tweezes here and there. You know what I mean? But, you know, if he's happy, that's all that matters at the end of the day. It's nothing, you know, nothing I say is going to change that. You know, Josh Klinghoffer's not going to watch this video and all of a sudden go, you know what, I'm going to go and get myself a Silver Jubilee. You know, that's not going to happen. Anyway, but yeah, that's it, everybody. We've come to the end of this Q&A session. I could tangent off on that for hours, but I'm going to stop myself there because I'm running out of time and battery on the camera. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A, everybody. I hope I've answered your questions okay, and some stuff to be taken away from that. And yeah, I will see you again on Friday for another vid. No idea what it's going to be, but we will find out then. Also, by the way, the intro jam today. Somebody issued me a challenge. Well, not a challenge, but kind of like a it was a kind of a mission, if you will. Somebody issued me a mission to do a thing using the middle pickup only on a Strat. Because it's kind of like the forgotten pickup on a Strat, the middle pickup. It's kind of like, you know, it's the one that gets the least use. So the whole intro jam was do it using nothing but the middle pickup. I actually flipped out of it at one point and realised what I was doing, and I put it back in. And I was like, ah! so the whole intro jam was all middle pickup. So person who asked for that, so I hope that was good enough. And also I did this weird cross drums thing. There was 2 drum patterns going on at the same time in an intro jam, and one slightly at a time. So it's doing this slightly pushing thing as it kind of fluctuates. And I nicked the idea from Robert Fripp of King Crimson for that. So yeah, anyway. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. And I'll see you again very soon. I'll just let you know, t-shirts will hopefully be here on Monday. So t-shirts will be sent out next week. If you haven't had an email back yet, you will. I'm just trying to catch up with it all. I will get there. Just bear with me for a while. It's just me doing it, so just give me a bit of time. But I will get back in touch, and we'll go from there. And also, the supplier I was getting t-shirts from has upped their prices, so I'm at this point in time looking for somewhere else because they're up their prices, and now that's a problem, which is really annoying. So, and also like they're out of stock with certain things, and it's like, anyway, enough on that. But like I say, t-shirts should be here on Monday, but I say I'll keep you updated anyway. And yeah, I'll see you again. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Hope you enjoyed this Q&A, everybody. And yes, goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching. Double thumbs.